When it comes to keeping kids safe, parents will do whatever it takes. In some cases, they have help from the government. Car seats, bike helmets, for example, are required by law in many states. But these days, some parents say safety has gone to extremes, and they wonder if we are overprotecting our kids. Here's ABC's David Wright.
Walk into any baby superstore, and the racks of safety products are enough to make your head spin. There's no end to the number of products you can buy. We've just got a small assortment on little Philomena here. A baby helmet, some walking wings, the glovies, of course, some snazzy baby knee pads, something called a kinder cord, kind of a leash. And now, we're ready to play. Child safety is a $750 million industry and growing. But how much of this stuff do you actually need?
I think it's tough sometimes for parents to decide whether to use a product or not.
Some products, like car seats and bike helmets, are statistically proven to reduce the risk of serious injury, but others seem more like optional accessories.
There are devices out there that may have marginal benefit and may, in some cases, be helping the peace of mind of the parent maybe more than actually providing a real safety benefit to the child.
Happy birthday to you. Good job.
Josephine Gerasi is the Long Island mom and inventor who came up with glovies. As a mom, she's fastidious about keeping her kids clean. As an inventor, her eureka moment came the first time she took her 2-year-old into a public restroom.
What I thought was going to be a very simple trip to the restroom turned into a nightmare. His tiny little fingers was gripping the bottom of that toilet seat.
And you thought?
I was so stressed out. I said, oh my God, we got to get out of here as fast as we can. I love you.
Now, whenever her kids are in what she considers to be an unsanitary environment, she encourages them to wear the glovies.
It just gives a little sense of relief for the parent that that's one less thing to worry about.
And what happens when the kid inevitably puts his fingers in his mouth?
You know what? That does happen a lot with toddlers.
As a parent myself, it seems to me that there's got to be a happy medium between keeping your kid relatively safe and obsessive compulsion.
Absolutely.
And I wonder, you know, there are those who might think that the glovies fall a little bit on this side.
Well, it's all up to the individual.
That's pretty much the line the manufacturers of all these products told us, that the choice is up to the individual parent. And there is plenty of room for disagreement. For Good Morning America, David Wright, ABC News, New York.
Lenore Skenazy was called by some the worst mother in the world after she wrote a column in the New York Sun last year about letting her 9-year-old son, Izzy, ride the New York City subway all by himself. And this led her to start a blog, and then she wrote a new book, which is called Free Range Kids, Giving Our Children the Freedom We Had Without Going Nuts with Worry. And we thank Lenore for being with us here this morning. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning to you.
So you've obviously talked about this a lot. Your book seems to have a thesis that this generation of helicopter parents, these overprotective parents, aren't doing that much good for their kids. Why do you think people are so overprotective right now?
I think we get a lot of messages from, the media
Us.
about terrible things happening to the kids the second they walk out the door. There's always really scary stories on the news, followed by CSI, followed by Law & Order, and Law & Order wasn't scary enough. They had to add the special victims and put the duct tape over their mouths. So you get the messages from TV that 24/7 your children are under attack. And then, as we were just talking about in that little piece you showed, you go into a baby store and, you know, you used to buy like a receiving blanket and a crib. And now, I mean, there's just aisles and aisles. There's 10,000 products in the average baby superstore. And many of them are dedicated to safety for things that used to be considered pretty safe, like crawling.
Okay, but bike helmets.
Bike helmets, I love.
Mirrors on cars so you can see, or the beeping of a car so you can see that there's something behind your bumper. That's okay, right?
I love safety. I mean, it's hard to sometimes put that together with the idea that we don't have to be quite as concerned. But what's happening with some of these safety products is they're telling you your child isn't safe crawling. Your child isn't safe doing a normal stage of activity like toddling. I mean, obviously, if you're in a car, that's not a normal stage of development. You want your kid in a car seat. But kids can crawl without baby knee pads. And you don't know that when you're a first-time mom and you walk in and you think, oh, my God, do I need all this stuff? Do I need a thermometer for the bath temperature, like I can't put my hand in it. They sell those.
You went to a real extreme with your son to make a point. Your 9-year-old, and you said it in your column, for those who didn't read it, you said, I gave him a subway map, a Metro card, a $20 bill, and several quarters just in case he had to make a call. And no, I didn't give him a cell phone because I didn't want to lose it. It sounds pretty extreme.
It sounds extreme, but...
You felt okay with that?
Can I explain the backstory to that? Is I wasn't doing this to set any kind of example or to prove any point. I wasn't even going to write about it originally. It was my son, who's standing over there watching, had come to me and my husband and said, can I get home from someplace on my own once? Because he felt ready for it. And as a parent, that's what you do. You don't throw your kid in the subway saying, you better find your way home. If you're Missouri, you come to New York, you listen to your kid. When they're ready to ride their bike, you have to let go of the handlebars because they want to do that. And that's what I did with Izzy. I let him take a subway ride because we're always on the subway.